If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube and membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here. Ha! It's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another Kicking It session. Today I've got June Dam on with me. He's rocking me to sleep here, ladies and gentlemen. We're listening to some waterfall sleep music. June, how are you, man? Thanks for joining me today, guys. Just to let you guys understand what I'm talking about, before going live, I asked June for a song. He didn't have one. He said he just codes in silence. Nothing to distract him from his great work that he's doing over at bitcashUSD. We're going to talk to him about that today. I'm jealous right now. You're in Costa Rica, in the beautiful tropical Costa Rica. What's going on, bro? Thanks for joining today.
Hey, no, thanks, Crypto Blood, for having me. And yeah, and I don't code, just an FYI. The hard stuff, Gabo and the other guys are doing the hard stuff. I kind of just meditate in this tropical rainforest environment.
Yeah, meditate. It makes sense. Waterfall music, couldn't give me a song. Zenned out here. All right. Chief meditator, if that's a word. I'm making. So June, you reached out to me through Telegram, and I get so many messages, but I saw you drop my man Rob Rigo. Tell me how you know Rob over at EOS Detroit, and I guess we can go from there.
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like he's an OG. BitShares days.
Yep.
Dan Larimer's original project in this space, and yeah, we kind of met through that. He was into BitShares, I was as well, and in the forums and the mumble sessions, it was cool. Just
nice.
Yeah. So anyway, since then, he's kind of like we've been in the same ecosystems, Steemit, and then also EOS, following that closely. We kind of follow Dan Larimer around, I guess. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And
he's a very underrated individual, smart guy. Dan Larimer is, man, and doesn't get as much credit, I think, broadly within the crypto community as he should. But I think his day is coming, and we'll talk about Eden a little bit possibly here today. I have you on because of your company, your startup, Bitcash, and we'll get into the details on that end. But before we went live or started recording, we talked about, you were asking me, how much do you meet with Rob? I said every day, because actually I joined EOS Detroit maybe about six months now, I think 5 or 6 months ago.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm with the Detroit EOS Detroit squad now, and we got a lot of exciting things coming up, but we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what you have going on. Tell us about yourself, really, first, before we get into your project, and why you're picking EOS to run your project and launch it on. It's actually been running for a while. You're revamping it, so just kind of give us your whole spiel.
Yeah. So I don't know how far back to go, but
as far back as you want, man. This is a Kicking It session. We're just talking, having fun, man.
All right, cool. So, well, now I was in the financial services business for nearly a decade before crypto. So I was always kind of interested in business, finance, investments, economics. That's where I thought my talents lied in that area. I was in engineering. I got an engineering degree before that, but that wasn't really what I was kind of passionate about. But yeah, I was like, business, economics. I feel like this resonates with me a lot more. And then but then the more I learned about the economy, just things didn't make sense. Our money system, our monetary system, the economy was like, I was more of a gold bug and learning about Austrian economics, which was alternative, right?
Yep.
To everything that I studied. And so that resonated with me too. I mean, I liked learning all the the traditional concepts. But
Mm-hmm.
then what resonated with me more was the Austrian school and how they thought about the money system. And so I was
Right.
like, yeah,
Sound money and all that good stuff. Yep.
exactly, sound money, gold. And I knew the economy was just, it didn't have kind of a sound like structure to it, like the way people can create money out of thin air, like the banking system and the Federal Reserve, and started learning about that. And so I was a real big gold bug, and I was always bearish on the economy. And then 2008-9 crisis hits, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected. This is, and
So wait, you must have been a Peter Schiff follower, disciple of Peter Schiff, along with many of us.
Yeah, I did fall into kind of that, and thinking about the potential inflation and that was coming. I do think, it's kind of funny. I mean, this is more detailed into Austrian economists, but
That's fine.
uh,
Yeah.
Peter Schiff had one theory, kind of the inflationist theory, and then there were other people that had this deflationist theory that deflation would hit first. I think it's like Robert Prechter was Austrian, but he kind of talked about how, hey, we're going to hit deflation first, in this credit bubble, and you can get this hyperinflation at the very end. But I followed Peter, and he made some good calls on the real estate bubble and whatnot, but he was always an inflationist, and I was leaning towards that. But then I realized, there's usually this credit contraction first before you get to the end game, right? Which is, I think Peter's correct there, but he was always like kind of the end game rather than the intermediary where this credit crisis where it's deflationary, really that's first.
Yep.
And so anyway, so that was kind of interesting to have different schools of thought. But overall, like the fundamentals that we had a broken system, it resonated with me. And I was like,
June, if you think about it, we had that deflationary event in '08.
Yeah,
think about it, right? That was the deflationary event before inflation, and now I think hyperinflation is just not manifesting itself in the way that we think. So I see hyperinflation in the not stock market, it's getting there, but cryptos is a manifestation of hyperinflation against the dollar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a lot of these crypto charts, they just go like this. Weimar Germany, look, it's just like
well, and I agree with that, and I'm hoping there's, at least with assets like Bitcoin and crypto, that there's more fundamentals behind it. But there is, of course, a monetary component. And I would say, well, stocks and other assets are kind of the ones that are benefiting just as much. But crypto has more fundamentals. So, either way, everything is going to go up. But I think crypto is going to go up more than everything like stocks or real estate and things like that. So I'm hoping it's just not like everything's in a bubble and it's like that the fundamentals are like not that different than stocks. But I do think there's a fundamental difference with Bitcoin and crypto that is more fundamental, and that eventually that stocks and bonds will correct.
Decouple,
real estate,
right?
Yeah, there'll be a decoupling, and the real value will flow into crypto, and then hopefully all these new projects that are on top of this new money layer. That's exciting to be part of it. Like EOS Detroit, and we're doing our startup here. Just like, this is the future. I mean, if there is this crisis that we all expect, what is it after? And I think that this crypto is the solution for the new economy, right? The new digital economy. And so that's what it's exciting, because it's going to be bad, right? Like we always think, okay, what's going to happen to society when we go through these real hard times, hyperinflation, or it was 2008-9 had kind of like this really credit crisis, and so we are balancing between either a credit crisis and deflation, or inflation and kind of what we're seeing today. So either way, it's bad, right? And so
that's the thing that people I hear, these internet economists, these YouTube internet economists. I can't wait till this system restarts, and I can't wait. And it just needs the bad guys need to. Well, I'm like, well, let's take a pause here. Like, do you actually really want to see this happen? Because when it happens, it's not gonna be all peaches and cream. There's
No.
gonna be a lot of chaos, a lot of unrest civilly, I think. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, you kind of touched on it, but don't you see it being more of if we get to that point where there's an actual reset, it's not going to be a calm, orderly reset. That's not typically how it works.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's. I wish I was more of a historian, but yeah, from what I hear, that there's like, you get into wars because of the economy, right? When countries
Exactly.
are in bad shape, and both they scapegoat the other country, and it's
Yep.
just an excuse to go into war. And um, so the economy is, yeah, the foundation of, like a good foundation in money and economics really prevent war, right? And then so when you get
Right.
into bad situations, so hopefully we get into, uh, we can be there early enough for it to be a quicker transition, right? Because we don't want it, like, because that can even affect our ability to execute and be successful with crypto. If they just start putting all this, they start banning crypto, let's say, and doing things that are, um, um, totalitarian. That's what is a little bit concerning. But I think we still have a window where, hey, we could just be there and kind of have at least a smoother transition that than um, than we could without it. So um,
Yeah, speaking of that, June, of course I know you probably heard last week Janet Yellen says that she wants the lawmakers to curtail the use of cryptocurrencies, and that kind of rocked cryptos a little bit, Bitcoin in particular. Um, I always said that that is the last challenge for us in the crypto community, the actual attack on Bitcoin, on cryptos. We haven't actually seen that in the United States. Um, the SEC has, to me, the biggest reach globally when it comes to enforcing different monetary laws or and such. So what does it look like when the SEC, when the Treasury finally says, okay, enough is enough. Bitcoin is at $1 million, threatens our initiative and our operation and what we're trying to achieve. We're going to attack it. I don't think they can stop it, but they can definitely damage it price from a speculative perspective. What are your thoughts and how that looks and plays out when that happens? It's going to happen, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts.
yeah, if it does, that would be a major hit, for prices, and so it's gonna. I think this technology is resilient to
Yeah.
government at the end of the day, so it'll survive, and it'll, it may, unfortunately, if it's in the underground, it's harder to get mainstream, but
Mm-hmm.
um, so that it's going to affect it, pretty significantly. But it really depends on what they do and how they do it, and if they do it just like in the 1930s, they kind of went off the gold standard, and
Band
they
gold
are
and
banned gold. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
yeah, just that would be very bad. But I think if we're, everything's, I think everything's open though. We can build things expecting, like, just making uh the biggest impact we can, and being as successful as early as we can, and maybe puts a little bit of pressure on us to do things earlier, to try to get popular earlier,
Mm-hmm.
before that happens. But yeah, that would be a significant setback. Yeah, crypto, I think the biggest risks are regulatory. I agree with you. So
Yeah, definitely. And I think people aren't discounting that. They're not discounting that in the space right now. So I've been in crypto since 2013. I've seen the
wow.
ups and downs, and I think people really don't understand how wild west we still are. I mean, it's a lot of legitimate, like, it's been legitimized with a lot of the stuff like Coinbase going IPO and that type of stuff, but I just feel like when the stuff hits the fan, and you know the dollar as a reserve currency gets is threatened, they will pull out any and everything to keep that power. They meaning the United States government. And so I think that's one of the last things we gotta, as you stated, it's resilient. I think it's anti-fragile, crypto and Bitcoin and all that. So that's great. It won't end us, but it will definitely, you know, in my opinion, hurt us like from a price perspective, pretty deeply. But I think we still will move on and still grow from it. Let's talk about what you're doing in this space, and how you're trying to make the use of cryptos an anti-fragile situation for the 99%. Right? Tell us about bitcash.org and what you're trying to achieve over there. I'm excited to hear what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. So yeah, we it started Bitcash. Actually, the first concept was back in 2015, and we were planning to use BitShares because they had a stable coin called bitUSD. We were just going to use that. And this is after maybe like another project. I was thinking, hey, we got to make crypto useful. Before that,
Wasn't bitUSD like the first real stable coin?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's funny, people don't know the MakerDAO guys were on BitShares before they went to Ethereum.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's conversations in the forums about different stablecoin designs, and they had a really good white paper. Even back then, they had a white paper about what they were building, but they couldn't do it on BitShares because they didn't have the programmatic kind of software or platform to do it on. And so they went to Ethereum. And I was just going to use back then the first evolution was just trying to make it useful to use as a money to spend, just make it a very simple wallet to be able to spend dollars as if it was just like $1 or Venmo or PayPal. And it kind of evolved from the idea that, hey, we got to just make this useful. But over time, I realized, crypto, people rather invest than spend. I think the spending will eventually happen, but you really spend bad money before you spend good money. So
yes. I had this conversation the other day, man. Oh my God. Like and that's why I think I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just got to get this out. That's why I think Dogecoin, I've seen it when it was created, like from its inception. It was literally just a fun coin to just do various things, donate to different, operations or organizations or whatever. But when Dogecoin went to an inflationary model, where it's 5 million coins a year, I think now, like, this is a perfect coin to spend. It's it has an inflationary supply. You want to spend that money. You want to spend Dogecoin before you spend your Bitcoin, right? Or any inflationary type of currency or cryptocurrency. That's the coin you want to spend, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that I agree with you, relatively speaking. But then the dollar is the most inflationary.
Sure,
coin.
absolutely.
So that's like, so people are spending the dollar and keeping the crypto, and they're keeping any crypto, whether it's,
that's true. That's true.
Because it's a relative thing. So
so
so crypto was like, all right, that's what people are gonna do. And it's good. Like, that's just a smart thing to do. You just hold your crypto, invest, and hodl, right? And so that's a good thing. So I was like, okay, well, so we had to evolve. It's like, okay, the payments is just not ready just quite yet. You can still use it for remittance and foreign exchange, and there's a lot of applications that you can just kind of use it for that maybe is useful just on top of it being everyday payments, right? But the dollar is, people are used to it. People use credit cards, so we kind of evolved it into like a platform where you can do the same thing, spend it like $1 and use it for all those applications. But the very first application still, kind of a bottleneck was just getting into crypto and investing in crypto. And nowadays, like, so it evolved, but nowadays, like, this was before now PayPal and Square Cash and Venmo, and like you could get it. So it's, that challenge is no longer like a major issue, but
Right.
still you have KYC AML. And so that's at least the niche we're going after, saying people should have the freedom to exchange cash for crypto using whatever form they want. They should have the freedom. They have the right to do it. People shouldn't limit or restrict you, or say, hey, you got to do some sort of KYC AML. So we figured, okay, that's still a market we could go after, and the peer-to-peer trading market, local Bitcoins, Paxful is another one. Binance is getting popular recently, but we want to go and tackle that space. We want to make it easier. Like a stable coin makes it easy for people to get into crypto. They don't have to say, oh, I'm going to offer it for X, and you have bidders that bid Y. And then there's like, everyone has a different ask and bid, right? If you trade dollars, it's just like 1-for-1 essentially. You don't, and then people can trade whenever they want into other crypto, right? So the stablecoin really helps the on-ramp being part of it if you have a stablecoin. And we want the user experience to be like super simple for mainstream people, grandmas, to be able to get into crypto easily, just trading dollar for dollar. So if you have Venmo or PayPal, you could send someone $100 and then they'll give you $100 worth of BitcashUSD, and that's it. And then they could trade in our app to Bitcoin, Ethereum, or EOS, right? So we want that just experience to be a whole lot easier, because if you have friends, it's like easier to just go to someone and say, hey, give me some like Venmo money and I'll give you BitcashUSD, and then go get into Bitcoin or EOS or whatever you want. So that's the experience we wanted to kind of create, that's different, make it easy, focus on the on-ramp, also give the people the freedom. People get stuck on KYC, like they get rejected for whatever reason. And so they had to find other ways to get crypto. So there is at least, I don't know what percentage is, but maybe 5-10% of 15% that just can't get through the KYC,
So how do you? I mean, yeah, I'm with you wholeheartedly, and I know it seems like you've been in crypto for a while, so you understand the original ethos of the community. It was like F the banks, right? We're gonna have our own platform, our own network, our own infrastructure. We're so far from that now, bro. It makes no sense. How are you guys going to tackle the KYC hurdle? I mean, I don't understand how you're going to be able to do that without the regulatory guys knocking at your door.
That might eventually happen, crypto, but I just
Okay,
got to be ready. But the
gotcha.
idea though is peer to peer. The more decentralized it is, it's a
Mm-hmm.
decentralized exchange. It's peer to peer. The less you have any kind of control over what people do, the better. Your platform, right? Also, I'm comfortable challenging a lot of the regulatory aspects of this. Really,
Okay.
yeah, KYC AML laws, I think, are unconstitutional. So if
Yep, they
yeah,
are.
if it comes to that, you can fight legally, right? But I'm trying to figure out ways to um, challenge that legally if we can, once we get the resources. But we want to be successful first. We're not worried too much about the regulatory side until we grow big enough, and then if we grow big enough and we have enough capital, then we can actually defend ourselves better. So there's certain things that I have to be careful of, but we think, as long as you're doing the right thing for people, it's more the regulators that have these unconstitutional laws that are at fault. They should kind of revisit what they're doing, right? More so than what we have to kind of do ourselves. So but that may happen. They always discourage people to do these things with all the regulations that are there locally and around the world. There's the whole these travel rule laws and all of these. It's just essentially the same thing, KYC AML. But I think there's an opportunity. I mean, I'm learning more about the laws internationally and how they're structured, and they don't really have the legitimacy that people think, right? um, uh, yeah, so so I think that's the main thing, fighting, um, making it popular so that, we have the resources to defend ourselves, understanding this is the right thing for people, and then we'll see how things shake out in the future to see. Um, so money transmitter laws and things like that, but you know they're not going to go after people that just trade uh, limited amounts, like hundreds or maybe even thousands. But there are rules that people have to be careful of if they're not doing more than, let's say, 10,000 a month in these peer-to-peer transfers. They're like brokering things, so you want to limit that. We just want kind of a broad group of people just doing it more casually, not a, people could do it as a part-time business maybe, but not make it a whole thing where you're doing kind of millions a month or anything like that. But if you have enough people trading smaller amounts, I think it's fine. They won't go after that. If they won't go after people that do limited amounts. And there's a lot of,
Remember,
yeah, there's,
remember, Bitcoin, local Bitcoins. They used to be, you used to be able to do it without KYC, and they changed their whole business model. I'm assuming because of pressure from regulatory agencies. Do you feel like that's going to be an issue for you guys at some point, even if it is a small amount?
yeah, I think so. So there's, we'll have a strategy around that. First thing is just, just encouraging people to do these small amounts and not be
Mm-hmm.
afraid. I think it's more the psychological aspect that deters people. They say, "Oh man, what if they go after me?" But they're not going to go after you for like small amounts, and and you just it's such a kind of important thing to fight for, kind of freedom to do that I think it's important. And really, the people they entrap people. Let's say like an undercover FBI agent goes and says, "Oh hey," they kind of say, "Hey, this is a drug deal," and they say, "Hey, can you sell me some crypto for this drug deal?" And it's like entrapment, right? That's
Yep.
you're not supposed to do that. That's illegal too, but they do that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so as long as you're not getting caught in those kinds of shady deals that you probably don't want to be involved in anyways, right? So just avoid that and just do it as a way to help people get into out of crypto. It should be fine. Like, you don't do anything involving like illicit activities and you're fine, right? So that's the thing that I'm kind of advocating, that people have the freedom to do that, and that you should be fine. Like, and don't do too like, keep the volumes limited when you participate in something like this. So that's
So
the thing.
where are you guys at currently with Bitcash, the project? I think I heard you talking about you're focusing right now on the actual app. Tell us a little bit about what's going on and the roadmap for Q2 and later for this year.
This project is a whole lot of things wrapped in one. So we have this peer-to-peer, the stablecoin, the peer-to-peer on-ramp, right? But the on-ramp goes into an easy place to trade crypto. So you get it into crypto, and then you could trade into Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS. We used wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ethereum. And so it's just a really easy to use product for, I think, the mainstream, where people can just press a button and trade. And we offer leverage too. So that's the first use case. The next phase is to do a decentralized autonomous organization. We just call it a virtual organization, a BitcashOrg DAO. And that's going to have a unique tokenomics. It's going to have just a unique way to operate the organization. It's governance was always a big thing in EOS, and I think we could we'll have the software and the tools to enable that governance, more like a stake-based governance for this company, right? Our virtual organization on top of EOS. And so we have that ready. We'll also have something very easy to use, virtual accounts, light accounts, where people don't want to deal with resources. That's and it's actually more costly to have everyone set up a native EOS account to use the platform. So we're going to create what we call virtual accounts or light accounts, where they don't have to deal with the resources. We'll pay, for everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll interoperate mainly with our smart contract because
Mm.
that's kind of how you design it, so that they don't have all the features of voting
Mm-hmm.
like on EOS. They can upgrade to an EOS account, but it'll still
Mm.
be a key. Like they'll still have their own key. You'll have all the power, but you kind of strip out all the uh, all the resource management, all the voting kind of aspects of it, because people, they just want to access simple things like transfers or trades. They don't need to know how to vote on EOS, and they could upgrade eventually to it. And
Mm. That's a
I
good
think,
approach.
yeah, I think, and so yeah, so we just and think about the users. Like one of the like it was just it's common. Like when I talk to people outside of EOS and they talk about using EOS, they say, "Hey, it's difficult." Like,
Yep,
and
that
and
is the number one thing.
yeah, and it's like, man, I'm paying $100 fees for Ethereum. That's and it's still like, it's
That's
intimidating to look at it.
crazy, right?
Like these long, like these numbers, hexadecimal numbers. No one wants to see these. Like at least EOS has like human readable account names,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
then so I'm kind of complaining about Ethereum and whatnot, but
Yeah.
from the outside perspective, like even Ethereum guys, they're like, man, I tried to use EOS and it's like difficult with the resources, and you have to think about this whole new way of interacting with a blockchain. So I can see that adding any like additional concept like resources CPU is difficult for even crypto native people. So anyway,
So
so it's
so
kind of
is the bridge to this ecosystem going to be through 100x? Tell us about 100x and how that plays into this whole ecosystem.
yeah, exactly. So the first app is a 100x trade. That's the app to get in and trade. And so
Okay.
Bitcash Bank is more the smart contract powering it, the platform, the stable coin, the DeFi. You deposit and earn. Like we got all these DeFi features like built
Mm-hmm.
in, but we don't even focus on that. That's already built in. It's really, I think, a unique design, packaging all these DeFi concepts into it in a very simple way. But it's our first use case is really the onboarding and the trading. So if people want to trade with leverage and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and EOS, that's what we tell people. And most new people just want to trade major coins, and so we start with that. We can add coins later, but that's the idea. Just keep it simple. All the for EOS native people that maybe it'd be great. They can just test it out, trade. It's a very simple user interface. No order book, no complicated. I guess uh, there's not a lot of thinking. You just press a button up or down. You just trade, and so it makes it easy. And I think a lot of people will just like trading that way. Normally, you're on a trip somewhere and you're like, oh, hey, I think EOS is going to go up for X reason, and then you just go from the kind of the stablecoin dollar into EOS, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, I think there's been news. I want to sell on the news. You just
Mm-hmm.
click a button. So the whole idea of having these platforms where you have to kind of log in, set up, and you have all these charts, and those are for power users. For most people, even uh, probably the average crypto person, you just want a place to easily trade when you
Yeah, and
think
I
it's the
think
right
I think
time.
that's where Coinbase found its success early because it came in very simple, very user friendly. The UI UX was very well thought out. Even though I don't like Coinbase per se, I have to give them credit for that. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
Coinbase is kind of a cool story. Back in mid 2012, that's when I started following crypto. It was like in San Francisco, and Brian Armstrong was there, and he was like, I'm gonna make it easy for people to get crypto, because I had a hard, like it was like faucets were giving you, I think, 0.01, and I
Oh
could
man,
get
it
it.
was
Yeah,
horrible, bro. I had to
yeah.
go to CVS and pay a bill to Bit Instant, and
Oh,
It
you did a bit
was,
instant. Oh wow,
yeah,
yeah.
it was. You're right. Yeah,
Charlie Shrem.
Charlie
Yeah,
Shrum.
yeah, and it was like no, they got something there, and it was actually even easier in the early days of like they just simply had a place to buy Bitcoin really easily. It's even more complex now, especially with the new coins and things, and y'all
Mm-hmm.
keep adding to stuff, so it's like.
Yeah.
So I think it got even more complicated over time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in the early days, yeah, the Coinbase was like just a simple place to just get Bitcoin that's more easily than anywhere else, right?
Yeah, very true. No KYC, no anything. It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy. So, what's the roadmap? What's the timeline for this 100x
Yeah.
adapt?
So
Kind of give us.
early May,
Okay.
May 4th. Please sign up to our launch party. You're invited, of course,
Sweet. Will
and
do.
it'll be fun. And we'll have the beta launch, so it's going to be live on the mainnet, and we're going to work the kinks out for a couple months, and then end of June is the target to launch our DAO and and virtual account system. Those are the two main things. Well, it's a key manager, so it's a key manager and the DAO are the two things. But other than that, yeah, we're pretty set. Like the main features are going to be out just in a couple weeks. May 4th, um, launch party, and we're also integrating a referral system so that it's a new way of doing things, and blockchains allow this, so you can reward people for contributing. So rather than having this marketing system where you have this traditional structure, it's like, okay, hey, we could track what kind of revenue is generated from your referrals, right? What's the customer lifetime value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see it just because it's linked on the blockchain that you referred someone, and then you could see the transactions generated by that user, so you can just reward people for helping, right? So I think the marketing department becomes more like, okay, hey, we can open this up and reward people for their contributions for getting users. So those are the things that we're trying to yeah, we're trying to do. I think that people haven't leveraged enough these days. Um, I think I think it was BitShares. Yeah, they had this referral system. So the concept was there, was just never fully utilized. So we're doing something very similar where we're just so partners, marketing partners, people that can go, community people that do a lot of outreach, they can earn. It's a lot of opportunity, like early stage tokens in the beginning too. So you go help out our project, and then we kind of share in the success of every this whole organization. Same thing with depositors. We need depositors, so it's like you deposit crypto, 80% of the revenue flow go back to the depositors, and 20% goes to the DAO. Um, we do it, it's also unique. You get all our tokens, we dilute, but the tokens are where the value comes to the depositors.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's based on the token value. So whatever the token value is at a given moment, the revenue is a certain value, and then so we dilute by that amount. And so it's just pure economics. It makes, like, I think, pure economic sense. Contribution is just fair system where like their contributions for the revenue that they generated is equal to kind of like the value of the tokens that are minted. uh, and the tokens have multiple purposes as well. It'll also give you a discount on fees as a utility token, but everything matches up. So we're trying to make sure all the economics are as perfectly as aligned as possible to get
Nice.
people to kind of whatever they're contributing. It's a meritocracy. You contribute X amount, we could value that contribution and offer the rewards uh,
Nice.
in a fair way. So
Well, that's cool, man. I'll definitely show up to the launch party. Just let me know where to sign up and whatnot, and Crypto Blood will be there for sure, bro. I had a great time talking to you for sure about the new project. Well, it's not new, but you're kind of revamping it and fine-tuning it, and we'll be launching it here in June. So much success to you guys, and I'm looking forward to it. Any last statements?
No, really appreciate it, man. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It's great to see. I think you do great interviews. So it's always fun chatting and kicking it with Crypto Blood. So
absolutely.
So we got to do it again. Hopefully, hopefully
of
soon.
course. Yeah, of course. And again, guys, we're gonna just fall asleep to this Zen music he's got us listening to. Make sure you guys go over to bitcash.org for more information on that, and 100xtrade.io. That's the actual dApp that's going to be rolling out very soon here, if not already by the time you see this video. It's your boy Crypto Blood, and thanks for kicking it with us. June, Damn, CB. We're out of here, people. Holla! If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here. Ha!